Good morning, 7 a.m. one. I hope you're all well. I thought I'd make a little video of feedback for you on the task where you've described something in the corner of the room. And I'm going to show you some examples of some work that some of you have done. I'm going to pick out some wonderful aspects and some things that can be improved upon. Now, hopefully you can see this. I'm going to start with Gloria's work. So Gloria has written, there she stands, minding her own business, in aware that she brings beauty into the room. Even her base and support admires her. Some days she's the unhealthiest, some days the healthiest she's ever been. Some days she looks dead, and it seems as if all the life has been sucked out of her with a vacuum. Most days she's full of life. No matter how she looks, she always brings nature, beauty and inspiration into the room. Now, when I was reading that, I think I was creating pauses, and the pauses that I was creating weren't actually indicated by Gloria in the text. So Gloria, I think, for example, after there she stands, if you put a comma, then it creates more dramatic impact. You say, there she stands, comma, minding her own business. Let's have a look at the rest of it. There are times when she leans against the plain white walls and her leaves are just neatly organised and assembled, and the both components just complemented each other nicely, as it was planned and they were ready for a photo shoot. The wall behind her plays a big part in helping her shine, helping her stand out more than she already does. That's a great paragraph in terms of the way you've personified the plant as if it's a model. I do like the way you've used the words shine and stand out to create sibilance. But what you do need to make sure there is that you stay in the same tense. And also, the second sentence, as if it was planned, isn't a complete sentence. Ever since the plant met the wall, they have become best friends, inseparable best friends. That's lovely. Without no plant, the wall would not be able to be who he is now. Without no wall, the plant will not be who she is now. Better if it was without the wall and without the plant. Otherwise, it's a double negative. But there's a lot of promise in there, Gloria. A lot of promise in there. Let's have a look. Now here we have Sude. Okay, it's a lovely piece of work here. There she stood, the brown beauty glistening in the sun with the best posture you have ever seen. The black and white keys waiting patiently to play sweet tunes all throughout the day. Well, it's a lovely opening, Sude. I love the way that you've conveyed this piano as being a statuesque beauty. You have in that second sentence not completed the verb though. The black and white keys waiting patiently. Black and white keys waited would be better. She stood tall and proud as she leant on the milky white wardrobe. She laid back on the wall while still looking tall and upright. When someone lays their hands on her, she makes a sound that is more beautiful than anything or anyone that you have heard before. Right, that's lovely, but there's a shift in tense, so you need to stay in the past tense. So it could be when someone laid their hands upon her, she made a sound. She wore a silver badge to show where she was made and brought from. She made a proud, loud sound. That's brilliant. To prove that she is in the room and is there to be played. The matte finish in her body felt so smooth to the touch you could almost sleep on it. People played her on the edge of their seat, being too excited to stop. With their fingers stretched along the piano, playing the best melody they have heard, whilst you play her all your anger and sad emotions away. I think there's some lovely imagery, but perhaps too many simple sentences, and you could join some of those together with punctuation, or indeed with conjunctions to make the work flow a little more. There she was, standing without support, peacefully waiting for the next day to come. The language is lovely. The language is fantastic. However, it would benefit from all being in the same tense and some more complex and compound sentences. Moving on, here's Neo. There he stands in all his glory, keeping what we need the most. He has a stomach who is full up all the time, but sometimes he is light and sometimes he is heavy. That when he is light, the valuables that he stores are getting washed, still ever. So he remains full up as lots of goods are left behind in his crowded belly. Well, that's great. The personification there conveys this idea of the dishwasher being like a creature with a huge belly eating up the goods. His eating habits are pig-like and greedy, but he himself has a difference from pigs. As in animals, he is bright, white and clean. Make sure that you punctuate that sentence correctly now. Sometimes he is lonely as food is his only friend. Ah, now I like the mood that's conveyed there. Rather sad, regretful. Sadly, the only visitors he gets are from his master, who comes in and out of the room, and the humans that stock his stomach full of food. Objects hide behind him, sometimes for years, until he moves house and is finally clean. That's lovely, that bit. Sometimes he is left for weeks on end, and sometimes months with little food or company. That obviously, it describes a dishwasher, but the way that Neo's personified the dishwasher makes it sound like a neglected child. Despite his greed and hunger for attention, he is empty without people and will never be able to move around as only human beings can move him. As he has no power, nor a soul, just a body, a blank white body. Without a person, he cannot function and would eventually just rot away into nothingness. The mood in that Neo is terrific. It's sad, it's regretful, it conveys this sense of isolation. I do wonder if you could add a little bit more to the personality of the dishwasher. And I think that's something that quite a few of you could do. Try to give a very convincing character to the object that you're describing. Here is young Javid. He just sits there all day. After the early morning, he's useless. He does nothing but lie down all day. Now, I like the opening because it seems quite critical of the object. Need to spell lie correctly though, please. He doesn't move. He doesn't make noise. He doesn't do anything. However, when the time is right, he suddenly is the only meaningful thing. It's like after a long night shift at work, they don't think to use Carl. He's the coffee, what's its name? That needs to be cleared up a little bit. Or even look at that other guy, Oliver. Or is his name Twist? He's either book, a script, or a vacuum cleaner. All those giants want to do is drift away into La La Land, only to wake up and perform the same boring routine as they do every single day. So this is very entertaining. The tone is light and conveys a sense of fun, but it does need to be divided into clearer paragraphs. And the worst part is that when they're finished with that big buffoon, they make him look all neat and presentable. Whatever happened to wiping the table or washing the dishes? Does he have to wait for that other long-haired giant with the spray that comes every week? Maybe, for once, he could actually appreciate my work instead of just having 5 showers a week and 10 cups of that hot water with a bit of flavoured paper and that white cow wee. Should be cow juice, as I put on my comments. A little rest every now and again would be nice. Anyway, that underpaying giant was to fill up Edna. Maybe she has it worse. After all, he sits in her for hours on end and does nothing but get wet and wallow in his sadness. So, that is very clever. It's very clever indeed. But to have more impact, Javid, it needs to be organised into clearer paragraphs, and the punctuation needs to be used to have greater impact. Okay, I'm not going to talk about what that is. I'm going to let the class try to decide what it is. Now, here's something very interesting. This is Hannah's. I'm going to read through this for you, and you'll be able to see what is a quite marvellous piece of work. He stood there, proud to serve his purpose, a heavy load on his back, his smooth caramel-like skin designed so meticulously, so perfectly, so it stood upright against the wall. Although carrying such a huge weight on his sturdy shoulders, he bore no signs of struggle, no sign of fatigue. Now, I love this because, first of all, it conveys the idea of the bookcase as being proud and sturdy, always being dependable, there to do a job, and do it well. And it also conveys the strength of the bookcase. From where he stood, he could see out of the window into the cold, wet outside. How he longed to be out there with the company of his brothers and sisters, standing tall against the downfall or rain, their bright green hair swaying against the unfriendly breeze. He remembered when he had hair like that, like theirs, a long mane of it, glossy and often dripping with moisture, for as was the English weather. He was now so small he had to crane his squat neck to see his brothers and sisters' tresses. For now he had no hair, but arms bombarded with colourful objects. On his feet he was balancing books upon books, and they were heavy, very heavy, but still he bore no sign of weakness. Now what's lovely there is that beneath this sturdy, dependable character, there's a sense of regret and a sense of longing for being back as a tree amongst the other trees, his brothers and sisters, to have the long hair of green leaves again. He wondered whether they missed him, his parents and all the rest. He missed them, and he missed his old self, tall and strong. But now he was small. Still strong, mind you. How else? How else would he have... I missed out a line there. A man-made object just like all the rest, one of thousands and thousands to come. Why wouldn't they understand? The more they became like him, squatting in the corner of a room, used but never acknowledged, the worse the world would become. So this particular bookcase understands the danger of there being too many bookcases, too many trees that become bookcases. So we've got this bookcase which is sturdy and strong. It has a sense of longing to go back to its family, the other trees, but also it has a conscience. It has an understanding of environmental danger. A tear dripped from his eyes as a glossy red object was placed in his hands. He was given it every day for hours at a time, and this time was a joy to him. It was such a wonderful object to hold, smooth and shiny. And then a thick black rope would be stuck in the side of the object, and it tickled him as it trailed across his arms. He would hold it out and listened to the tap, tap, tap of those little sticky out bits on the surface. The red thing would sit there for about 7 hours a day, sometimes more, sometimes less, but he would always be vaguely aware of how much time it had been resting in his grasp. This was one of the simple joys he thought of this job. This thought took him back to his old home, where he had been carrying even more objects, but surrounded with ones like him, once tall and happy, now squat and insignificant. He stared out into the open again, and thought he could just see his sister in the distance. Her long hair glistened, and she turned around, and he could have sworn he saw her give her the tiniest wink. Fabulous. Fabulous piece of work, because it conveys a genuine sense of character, and it stays in the same tense all the way through. The language is superb. Use of paragraphing is excellent. Now, I would like you to redraft this piece of work, each of you. I'm going to set that for you as Tuesday's task. Monday is a bank holiday, so I'm not going to set you a task. But I'll set this for Tuesday, and then I look forward to reading your redrafts. Any problems, anything you're not sure about, feel free to send me a message. Get in touch however you wish to. Have a lovely weekend.